let's say we see from the developmental psychology that kids until 7, their brain is just not developed enough to be very intentional, to make always right choices, etc., etc. And you were saying about this authoritative parenting when you have the worms, but you have the rules. So maybe
Mhm.
you can give some examples, what you find from your experience or the parents you consult in, like what are the useful rules you would introduce?
One of the things with self-control is getting control of our emotions. And my child with the sensory issues and the ADHD and all that kind of stuff would have very big emotions, and she would be angry or fall apart or whatever. A child doesn't know the words always, and so that's often where the tantrums come from and all of that kind of stuff. So I try to approach them and give them the words first and say, "I understand that you're frustrated right now, but how you're behaving in this frustration isn't okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a little time away. How much time is totally up to you. You could be on you could be in the spot for 1 minute, or you could be on the spot for 10 minutes. It's totally up to you, but you can come back and play with us when we have self-control." And then I'd be trying to do something really fun in the background so they want to like get self-control and come join in again. Some parents aren't comfortable with that. They want to pull in and hug and do that. I understand that, and I think that there is good research to show that that can be beneficial as well. But for my particular child, I found that when they got space, they got better.
Sorry, but I think this detail might be important. Is this space in your presence, or it should be like separate somewhere away from you?
I did it separate. So we just had a place on the stairs, and we're like, "Oh, we love you. We want you with us, but until like your behavior is not affecting the rest of the family, we need you to get in control and then come join us again." So it would be 30 seconds. My mentor said they had kids that would just fall asleep on the stairs and like until they could pull it together and get back to the group. Yeah, ours was separate.
Okay, so those are the type of rules that, if you need some space, you can have it. Is it working the same with all of you? Because you have 3 children, right?
Right, right.
So is it working the same for all of them, or you feel that some of them need more, stay more connected during those emotional
Yeah.
moments? So how does it?
It's a good question. I found that it worked for all of them. It was good, and like I said, you approach it in the forefront with empathy and all of that kind of stuff, and you want connection and you want them back. But I found it worked pretty well for all of them. And
Mhm.
I found it different if they're hurt or crying, but if it's the tantrum that's like overblown. And I found that when they could get their frontal cortex in like a calm place, we learned a lot about this chart of things. You go from green to yellow, which is more heightened. And then if you're in the red, your frontal cortex is shut down. And so you're not thinking, you're not processing. And so the goal in getting them to be by themselves for a little bit is to calm themselves down. And we gave different techniques for doing that too, breathing or keep having your hands at the center, physical things that can help calm you down. But once they're calm, then you can reason through. And if there needs to be a consequence because of their behavior, that's the time to implement that. But before we learned these techniques, we were going in head to head, and it would just ramp up, like they'd be mad and I'd be mad, and then they'd get madder and I'd get madder. And so until we learned that their frontal cortex was completely shut down and that they had to regulate, and then we could parent and teach and talk and say, "What upset you during that time? Tell me about it. How would we handle this differently next time?" That kind of thing. It works for us kind of thing, but I know that other parents would feel a lot more, and some kids respond better to being held and embraced, and that regulates them.
These rules for the self-regulation. So what are the rules for the adults then? Let's say we also need some self-regulation, right?
Yeah.
How does it work in intentional parenting? Because we also need to regulate ourselves, maybe even
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, yeah. The approach is it takes a lot. I'm not gonna lie, and we did it poorly at first, and just learned, and like as we learn more of the science behind it, it was helpful. But one thing you do is you lower your voice. So when you're talking to him, you lower your voice and you actually lean back. Leaning in is like a threatening thing, and you have to work on breathing. Breathing is the one thing that can like we have control over to like steady our heart rate. And I would give myself timeouts. I'd be like, I'm not going to handle this well right now. I need to go to the other room, and I lock my doors and I just try to get self control myself because it's hard when you have a kid pressing into you a lot or towards the end of the day and you're on the 20th time of trying to teach the same thing. It's hard. And
Yeah.
so just really working on, I mean, I think the lowering your voice thing was super helpful.
It sounds even so because you were just showing me this right now, and I was already like becoming a little bit calmer when you started saying.
Yeah,
So,
they said that Mr. Rogers was amazing at this and that even like in his business meetings or whatever, if anything was escalating, he would just lower his voice and sit back and be like this calming thing. And that's what we can't escalate with our kids because it only makes it worse. So yeah.